here's my report for April 14th, today. The next TA coffee hour will be May 5th at 10 a.m. here in the Parlin Room. We're hoping soon, maybe this summer, to host our first one at the police station when that renovation is done. Now we're meeting in the town hall. We expect topics to include the operating budget, the fire station renovation, design and DPW, and many things that you discussed and approved tonight. In terms of a human resources report, we did talk tonight about potentially having a shared service agreement for the plumbing and gas inspector, but Jim, our previous inspector, has agreed to serve until May 1st. We also are talking with other communities about potentially sharing a building commissioner, or if we have to, hiring a building commissioner, but Rich is staying on until we complete that, as long as we don't completely burn him out. And we are still trying to hire a DPW labor position and are always looking for COHS van drivers. We will be receiving all of our proposals for our house doctor contracts, and we'll be starting our designer selection committee process in the coming weeks, probably before town meeting starts. A quick update on Audubon Lane. So we renegotiated with our civil engineering firm and got some of the costs reduced to a level that we believe you are comfortable with based on the last discussion. I just want a final check. So the design costs are now fixed at $15,000, and we still have a construction estimate of $35,000 for a total of $50,000. And we will include this in the Chapter 90 bidding. So we're hoping.
Well, we're only authorizing the first 15.
And it'll be bid in the Chapter 90 bundle that we can bring to you to report on it. But it would be 15 in design, and we think 35 for construction.
If the design supports that 35 will fix the problem.
Correct.
Yeah. The design comes first. You don't commit to the fix until.
Right. Well, the design says it's gonna fix it.
Because there was the option
I know.
Premier. Okay. Keep going.
I'm agreeing. We're seeing general agreement.
If there's a
there.
pause, just keep going.
For budget updates,
You in a rush?
the budget's now complete. In the next
Wait
week,
long enough. Someone's going to say something.
in the next week, we will publish a budget book that you've become familiar with, which will give people a high insight into the budget process. So that can be found on the town administrator's website under budget information. And also, anything about town meeting can be found under the town meeting tab in departments. Upcoming town meeting has every warrant article and all the documentation that supports the various requests. We did receive our first Climate Leader technical grant of $119,000.
It's a big number.
This was
well done.
the ESC and led by Eric Ballas and Sarah Wasserman's work.
Job, Eric.
A lot of work
Well
went
done,
into it.
Eric.
So the MFC is right now overseeing the design of an upgraded HVAC system at Town Hall, and this $119,000 will fund the first part of that design. Give us the technical specs we need to inform the warrant article that you talked about tonight, which is the Town Hall rehabilitation. We have access to $1.15 million in Climate Leader grant funding, and are hoping to use that $1 million for the grant in Robbins building that has been discussed many times during the budget process. I'm glad the chief's still here. He can be celebrated for getting us a $15,500 firefighter safety grant
Well
for
done.
equipment.
Thank you for the MBTA is saying otherwise explicitly, we would not have been able to.
It said in it that because we are a compliant community, we don't have to worry about grant funding. So that's also true of the Climate Leader grant.
That's interesting. Yeah, they are.
In your packet, you have Sarah's quarterly CCA report. We provide this to you because you have to make decisions every couple of years on this CCA. So the last 2 years, we're coming up to the end of the contract. The new one will start. You've already passed it. The reporting indicates that we lost a little money in this agreement. I encourage you to look at the report. So it was very productive in the first 2 years. This year, it was similar to rates, but money was lost for people who were on that rate. So we're hoping that
Do we have to actively, that was a question, we have to actively go in and opt in, or we automatically, as individual,
with the new contract, if you're already in, then you stay in.
you stay in?
You can actively opt out if you want.
Right.
Right.
All right, we have a mutual aid agreement currently with Nemlik. They occasionally ask us to update that agreement. We looked at it, the chief and I. There's no substantive changes at all. They're just looking to have a proactive upgrading of the agreement. So we're asking you to support that tonight, if you're willing to.
You need a
Do you want us to do the motion now, or wait?
Is this
It's, what is it, page 68? You already have it? Okay.
the second one?
I move to endorse the interagency mutual aid assistance agreement with the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council as an NEMLEC.
Nemlec.
Look at these bugs, huh? And authorize the town administrator to review with town council and execute the contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion or deliberation? Seeing none, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, as you know, the House is currently considering their version of the governor's budget, and then the Senate will follow in May. So there's a couple advocacy requests we'd like to just bring to you. First, Sandy informed us and had informal discussions in my groups about the MCTA's opposition to eliminating the excise or vehicle marking system. So this is when you don't pay your excise tax, you're marked and you can't register your car, or there's some enforcement mechanism in order for you to pay your excise tax. So there is a good faith effort to try and help those who would be greatly hurt by this. Maybe they wouldn't be able to get to a job or some other things, and there's definitely reasons to consider this. However, for a small town, relaxing or eliminating this enforcement could massively affect your revenue. So your second biggest revenue source is motor vehicle
You
excise.
think people wouldn't do it if they didn't have a mark? They wouldn't pay their tax to us?
So one of the biggest rushes of excise tax payments we get is when people need to or have been marked.
Really? So they don't,
Or they forget.
I'm not sure
they
it's
don't actually pay their tax? Wow.
it's intentional, or it's definitely less in Carlisle, but communities have seen up to a 30% reduction in collections, which for us would be about $300,000.
So you oppose the change?
Yes.
We do. It's being considered, and I think in talking to legislators in good faith, they believe this is going to help, but they need to hear from small towns that it would not help Carlisle. There are ways to do this, and they just need to think it through.
Encourage
But this wouldn't be a good way, in our opinion. Also, the small town administrators, that you know I'm involved heavily with, are introducing their priorities to the legislature that include reforming or increasing Chapter 70, which is funding that we rely heavily on here, increasing unrestricted government aid, or UGA, which helps us as well.
Ugga.
Also, local infrastructure, so Chapter 90, the multi-year authorization and the $300 million bond bill, and that municipal building authority, which Carlisle would benefit greatly from if it were to pass. And finally, the Municipal Empowerment Act has several provisions that we would benefit from, especially given our small staff and the ability or inability to attract staff. It would free up some burdens that the state puts on us. So talking points for you, and those talking points are in the packet.
So are we
So
supposed to?
how are we
what do
gonna,
do?
how do you want us to support
Is there
the
like a letter we can sign?
initiatives?
So that's something to consider at your next meeting. In our conversation with the legislatures, they also said when they hear from you directly, it's very impactful
Okay.
from their communities. So they often don't know how you feel, not necessarily Carlisle, but how people feel about these things until they hear from people, so reaching
Mhm.
out does make a difference.
So we should do a
So-
letter, but, I mean, as a board, but also,
Do you want
Reaching.
authorization? We can just as a board authorize you to write a letter if you want.
Sure.
But are you saying, is that more impact if we write as the select board or individual citizens just calling the reps?
If I was you, given the tax pressures that are coming, I would do both.
yeah, I think that makes sense.
So to Barrett and to Simon, or where are we playing this?
That's where I would send it, yep. They know generally, but they're under constant debate right now during the budget process.
Yeah.
Is there like a
So-
draft or something, like, is there like does someone have a example? I mean, it'd be helpful just to have a template, and then we can customize it and get it out. There's gotta be.
Sure, we could find one.
But we also are saying we want to send one as a board,
Yeah.
coming from the board.
So we can
So-
review that at the next meeting,
Yeah.
and then people can take a version of that and send it individually.
Is that, will that be timely? Given their.
Should be
working
okay.
on
The House
budget?
might approve this month, but we'll see.
Okay.
Or if you wanna just
Whatever you wanna do.
authorize me to send a letter, I can
I
Yeah,
send
would
it.
do
I'm
that.
comfortable
Okay.
authorizing the chair
Yeah.
to send in a letter on our
Yeah,
behalf.
but then we also are supposed to call.
And then we
in.
could do it individually.
Call or write letters? What should
All of the
we do?
above, David.
Yeah, all of the above.
So I'm
So-
clear on the tagging, the excise tax. But then the second thing is like, it seems like a whole big bundle of things. Is that all in one package?
You'll see in the packet, there's a one pager that summarizes all of it for you.
That's not part of the TA report, it's somewhere else in here?
It should be in there. If it isn't, then I will send it.
Well, there's bullet items in your TA report, but.
But do we need to take a vote to authorize Scott to sign a letter on our behalf, or we're
No.
just good saying it?
I think we just say
Right.
it.
You can just say it.
Okay, good.
All right, it's in there somewhere. I'll get to it. If not, I'll send it to you.
All right.
Okay, capital project updates. The elevator is starting to move, the elevator project. We've been approving
Going up,
colors.
Going up.
Getting off the
Yeah.
ground floor.
Colors and schemes, and you're aware of the timeline. It'll start once the school year ends and then move through the town. I strongly encourage the board to check in on the Cranberry Bog Dam repair. So at the April 29th meeting, there was a discussion about hiring a dam engineer, and the costs are a lot. You know, the estimate we saw are in the hundreds of thousands, not the tens of thousands. So the commission is inviting Stamsky and McNary to attend their next meeting to talk about what could potentially be done. But the design that existed is not being supported by some engineering firms, and we really want to get a hold of it and bring in an engineer. But it's up to the CONSCOM, and they are working through it. So they are also looking to approve some of the emergency maintenance repairs that they can do. But again, the GPR identified a bunch of issues, and the dam's not in good condition. So the situation is deteriorating quickly, and we need to act. And it might come at you faster than you think, which is why I'm continuing to update you on it.
What is our role in this?
You will eventually be asked to support funding, I believe.
Funding from where? I mean, FinCom has a reserve fund. Other than that, we don't have funding.
Well, maybe at a future town meeting, or
Well,
it's
yeah.
gonna be a big capital project.
But if it's coming fast, there's not much we can do until potentially a fall town meeting.
Right.
So it may come fast, but it's it's going to sit there
Yeah,
for a
resolve.
while.
Resolved fast.
I don't know if there's a hidden pot of money somewhere for dam repair, but
Okay, the hydrology studies, there is additional data that needs to be gathered, and we now have a completion date of August or September, and this will inform the eventual design if we can agree on a plan and a designer.
It's taken a long time.
The Bog House you're familiar with, the feasibility study, and the work that needs to be done after the town meeting vote. In terms of the library renovation, moving to building construction projects, we received the filed sub-bids and the analysis, and remain optimistic that the final bids will be in alignment with what you expect. Final bids are due this Thursday, so we'll know for sure, and the analysis of the library closed project puts our funding right where it should be. So we're hoping for positive news on Thursday. So the library renovation can move for real and inform the town meeting vote that should finalize it. You are all tracking the fire station renovation pretty heavily. The project's out to bid. We're supposed to receive the final bids on April 23rd, so your next meeting should have a pretty good chunk of the fire station coming at you. And then your DPW, now building committee, the RFQ for their solicitation of designers is due Thursday, so we'll be working, Travis and I will be working to schedule a meeting there to start the designer selection process. It doesn't really need to be done before town meeting, but we obviously want to get going right after town meeting, so we'll start that process. Some upcoming discussions include those pesky personnel policies, the finalized items for the town meeting, the fall town meeting logistics, if it's to occur. The Highland Building is coming, and so is a meeting with the Historical Commission. We did approve a Rotary sign for the Gleason Public Library's poetry contest, and the library is also looking for approval to use the town common for its annual Pride Festival. We do not have the ability to approve the use of town land, so that is another motion for you to consider. That would be on June 12th. They're asking for approval for town common land for their Pride Festival.
I move to approve the request. The request is from the Friends of the Gleason Library? No. Who's it from?
It's from the library.
It is from the library, okay. I move to approve the request from the Gleason Library for the use of town land for the Carlisle Pride Festival on June 12th, 2026.
I'll second that.
just to clarify, there's there's a request from the library for the poetry contest, and the Pride Festival request is from the library as well?
Yeah, the poetry contest is approved, just
Okay.
letting you know.
I just want to make sure we got the right sponsor. Okay. All right, is there any further discussion or deliberation? Seeing none, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, want to talk about one of my employees, and then I have an update about Ferns for you. And then I'll be done my report. So I want to highlight Stephen, our facilities director. So our technician, Steve Monroe, identified a leak in the town hall water system, and Stephen worked quickly to evaluate solutions. Rather than simply do a one-for-one replacement, which would have been a lot easier, he assessed the room for different sizing options that resulted in a plan that was presented to MFC to downsize the system, which allowed more space in the closet, which allowed us to not have to expand the town hall mechanical room potentially. And just a lot of good things came from that analysis. So I'm highlighting this effort because Stephen's pretty consistent with this approach in facilities management. He secures the immediate problem and then he evaluates the long-term and short-term solutions. And while he can be frustrated sometimes about the municipal finance and our ability to fund things, he does come up with a plan and a method that provides us with the information we need to make good decisions. So I'd like to thank Stephen and his team for their outstanding work and their continued dedication to ensuring we have good solutions for these very difficult problems. All right, and I said I have an update on Ferns. So I talked with I sent this information to the potential owners of Ferns. They are looking for ways to properly install their septic system, and one thing they asked is if town land would be an option. And the town land that's closest to it is Center Park, specifically the parking lot, not the beautiful flower and grass area. So in order to do that, town meeting would have to approve a lease of the land, which means it would need a town meeting vote. However, before that, they would like to do a perk test to see if it's even viable. So if it's not viable, it wouldn't come to you. If it is viable, then we would start this search and go down this route. I talked to council about the perk testing, and he said we should sign a license agreement, which is a simple document, and make sure that they have the right insurance binders, and then we could authorize that perk test and then bring you more information.
So, I'm sorry, we had signed a license agreement with Center Park? Or
With the
No,
potential
Ferns
owners of
owners.
Ferns.
Oh, because we don't sign it. A license agreement that lets them do the perk test?
Yeah.
To touch our land, to evaluate it, and then,
So the prior Ferns had this it's like a glorified outhouse, basically, right? And that's deemed not desirable by the current owners?
my understanding is, in their discussions with the permitting boards, that it would not be enough
Not be enough?
for their
the things they
plan.
want to do.
Oh, okay, not enough, but you could put a second, but they don't want that kind of, those are ones that somebody carts out, I guess,
The
or does it?
Clivus, yeah.
Or does it self, I forget.
Compost, yeah.
It sort of just decomposes, is that what that?
Yeah,
that-
compost.
Right, but I mean, are they objecting aesthetically or capacity-wise, or both?
I mean, I was reacting to what they said they wanted to do, so
Okay.
I didn't ask them that.
All right. But I mean, if the perk test doesn't produce the right results, or if there's deemed not enough footprint there to do it,
We're gonna have to find another option.
right, so, but I mean, for the last umpteen years, there was an option that seemed to work, right? Okay.
So assuming there's no objection to that, that's the route I'm gonna take in order to get you the information you need for this. Okay.
Sounds good.
Can you have a septic under a parking lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. And other than just highlighting what's coming, so fire station, Highland Building, Historical Commission, at your next meeting, that is my full report.